Hi, I'm attorney Craig Murphy. So you're going to have a dream Vegas getaway, but you had a slip and fall and it turned into a nightmare. The casino won't deal with you and they won't answer your questions. So what are your legal rights? What are your options? What can you do? Stay tuned. I am going to give you the complete guide to Las Vegas casino slip and fall cases. If you have questions, I've got your answers. Welcome to today's session of Murphy's Law School. Today we are going to be talking about slips and falls at Las Vegas casinos. This is going to be your complete guide to everything that you need to know to be able to win your case or your claim against a Las Vegas casino. I'm going to go through a lot of information today, and if you've been in a slip and fall and you've been injured at a casino, or a family member or a loved one has been hurt and injured at a Las Vegas casino, I suggest that you get a notepad, pen and paper, and take some notes. I am going to give you a lot of useful information today, and if you have a slip and fall claim against a casino, taking some notes will help you understand what is going on in your case. So grab a pen and paper. Class is now in session. When we're talking about a slip or fall and injury at a Las Vegas casino, it can involve a fall at any area inside of a casino in Las Vegas. So let me tell you what we're going to be talking about specifically and how it will apply to your slip and fall injury claim or your case that you have against the Las Vegas casino. We're going to be talking about falls in the casinos themselves, in the hotels, the shops, or the showrooms. It could be at any part of the casino itself. But typically when we're talking about this, we're not going to be talking about where you are out in Las Vegas at some other location other than in the casino itself. And when I say the casino itself, we're talking about on the property of the casino. So it could be in their parking garage also, but in their shops, in the casino, in the hotel, in the lobby, in the restaurants, somewhere where you are on the casino property in Las Vegas. So it's not going to include grocery stores or anything like that. I have other videos that deal with grocery stores and the big box stores and Walmarts, Home Depots, Lowe's, that type of thing. But this is specifically talking about slips, falls, and injuries in Las Vegas casinos. So if that applies to you, as I said, grab your pen and paper, get ready to take some notes. We're going to cover a lot of territory. It's going to be very important for you to be able to understand this so that when you talk to the casino or you interview an attorney to hire the best person to represent you in your claim, that you have a general idea of what these claims involve. So let's get going. Let me ask you if this sounds familiar. You had your slip and fall. The people from the casino come and they get security there right away and they start taking some pictures and they want to get a statement from you. They start taking pictures of your shoes and they try and get you up and they try and get you out of there. Someone comes and wants you to sign and fill out a report, and someone also says, whether it's their security guard or someone from one of their other departments, say, don't worry, we'll take care of this. Just call our risk management and we will do what we can to take care of you. Then when you get home or days later, you're calling risk management and you can't get anyone to answer your calls. No one will give you an explanation. No one will tell you what's going on. Or risk management wants to take a recorded statement from you. What should you do? Well, number one, here is what you need to realize is just because you fell and you were injured The casino is not necessarily responsible to pay for your injuries and your damages. It is not strict liability in Nevada. What strict liability means, if you fell on their property, they're automatically responsible to pay for your injuries and damages. But that's not the way that it works. It's one of the reasons that they want to get a recorded statement from you as soon as possible, because they are going to ask you questions in a manner that will benefit them, will try to eliminate liability. It will eliminate their responsibility to pay for your injuries and damages. My first advice to you is do not, let me repeat that, do not give a recorded statement to the casino, to their risk management, or to their insurance company representative. If they ask you for a recorded statement, you need to tell them that you want to talk to a lawyer and get some legal advice before you agree to a recorded statement. Never give them a recorded statement without talking to a lawyer first. If there's no strict liability, if the casino is not necessarily responsible to pay you for your injuries and your damages when you fall and are hurt at their property, then what do you have to prove? How do you establish that the casino is in fact responsible for causing your fall and causing your injuries? And that is exactly what you have to do. You must prove that the casino was negligent and that their negligence is what caused you to fall, and that your fall at their casino caused your injuries and damages. What the casinos will often do is challenge one of these two factors. Number one, they will try and establish that their negligence is not what caused you to fall. Or if they cannot prove or disprove that their negligence was not the cause of your fall, they will then go and try and establish that your fall did not cause the injuries that you are claiming. Basically, what the casinos do is they deny, delay, deny, and defend. Their purpose is to do whatever they can to eliminate the responsibility for your fall or to eliminate any injuries that related from that fall. And we will go into that in detail so that you can see what you must do in order to prove that the casino was negligent, that their negligence caused your fall, and that their negligence that caused the fall also caused your injuries. So let's get into this in a little bit more detail so you can see exactly what it is that you have to prove in order to have a claim that you will be able to get proper compensation from the casino for your fall and injuries. We're talking about Las Vegas casino slip and falls. And oftentimes people will ask me or say, you do slip and fall cases? And I say, yes, I do slip and fall cases. And they get a look like, well, those are not really serious cases, are they? Well, yes, slip and fall cases are very serious. Think about this. Most people get that reaction where they kind of think, oh, you take slip and fall cases, and they don't take slip and fall cases seriously. The reason is we think back to the cartoons where someone hits a banana and up they go and down they fall, and it's very funny. Or we see the old movies where someone gets a box of marbles and they throw them out and somebody is then slipping all over the marbles and up they go and down they fall. And it's not taken seriously because we see it in cartoons or in comedies. Or the other thing that we see is we see these investigative shows, and all of a sudden they'll show someone and they get out of an elevator and they get on the floor and then they act like they had a slip and fall and they were injured. Or they have a private detective that's sneaking around spying on people, and they get someone who claims that they were injured and they go to the doctor's office, but as soon as they come out of the doctor's office they rip off the collar and they're smoking a cigarette and they get in their car and off they go. So people don't take slip and falls seriously. But what you don't see, when they show you that 1 or 2 cases where someone is faking it and trying to take advantage of the system. They don't show you the hundreds and the thousands of cases where people have fallen and they've been seriously hurt, and it's due to someone's negligence. You never get to hear about those. It's only when someone is taking advantage of the system that the insurance companies and the people that they pay to put their programs on television to convince us all that when someone's hurt, it's not legitimate and it's not serious. Those are the only ones we hear of. We don't hear of all of the ones where someone has a life-threatening injury because they were older and they broke a hip and they were confined to the hospital and then they got pneumonia and they passed away. You never hear about any of those stories. But slip and fall cases are very serious. Think about this. Most people that are older haven't fallen in a long time. They know how to walk. We all know how to walk. When is the last time that you were just walking along and you forgot how to walk and you started falling all of the time? That just doesn't happen. The last time that we fell, and it was a regular occurrence, was when we were kids and we were learning to walk, or we were 5 years old, 6, 7, 8 years old, and we were playing tackle football or whatever. But once we got older, we know how to walk and we don't fall all of the time. When we fall, it's because something went wrong. It wasn't that we forgot how to fall or we forgot how to walk and we fell. There's always a cause for it. And slip and falls are very serious and they're very legitimate cases. Here's what the CDC says about falls. Millions of people over 65 fall each and every year. 1 out of 5, that's 1 out of 5 falls cause serious injuries. 3 million older people are treated in the ER each year due to falls. Over 3 million people treated in the ERs. There are over 800,000 hospitalized from falls each and every year. More than 800,000 people every year from falls. There are over 300,000 old people that are hospitalized with hip fractures from falls. Falls are the number 1, the most common cause of brain injuries in the United States. And the medical bills from falls are more than $50 billion every year. So you can see that slips and falls are very serious. They happen frequently, and they are frequently due to someone's negligence, not because someone forgot how to walk once they became an adult. We don't forget how to walk. We just don't start falling all over places. And generally, something is on the floor. Something is wrong with the walking service that causes someone to lose their balance and fall and to be injured. And once we get a little older, we don't bounce like we did when we were 5 years old. When we go down, it's hard and it hurts and it causes permanent injuries. So, do we take slip and fall cases? You bet. And we investigate them and we find out what it was that caused the fall, because you can count on it that it wasn't the person that just all of a sudden forgot how to walk and they started falling. When we're talking about slip and falls in casinos, there's a general understanding between the casino operators and us, the public. Do you notice when you go into a casino that there is everything everywhere to distract you and to get your attention? As they always say, there aren't any clocks in the casinos. They don't want you looking at what time it is and knowing that you're late or that you have to be somewhere else. They don't want you to realize what time it is. What they do is they want you to look at everything that is going on around you. And you have all of the machines, all of the lights, all of the sounds. And you're looking at everything, and that is intentional. They want to draw your attention to the machines. They want you to spot the machine that you want to play so that you sit down and you start gambling there. So here is what you need to know about the casinos and the way that they operate and the way that they're laid out. Most of them have marble floors. And these marble floors are extremely slippery. Even when they don't have anything on them, they are very, very slippery. When they get wet, The marble floors are as slippery as ice, and you can't see it if it's a clear liquid that's spilled on it, and you hit up and you are going to go down and you hit hard. So when you are on those marble floors and they are wet, they are slippery as ice and they are extremely dangerous, and the casinos know it. They've had hundreds and hundreds of people that fall on those floors, but they don't do anything about it to replace them. They want them to look shiny and to give the impression that they're regal palaces, and they are very dangerous when they are wet, and the casinos know it. Also, the casino's social contract with you, as I was just saying, is basically, look at all of the machines, look at all of these games, look at all of the things that you can do to win money here in Las Vegas. And they draw your attention away from anything. They don't want you looking at the floor. In fact, you're not supposed to look at the floor. You're supposed to look at everything else around you. And that social contract is this. We have the understanding, and they have the understanding, that you come in, you look around, you are here to gamble and to do gaming, and you find the area where you want to go and the game that you want to play, and don't worry about the floor. We will take care of the floor. You don't need to worry about that. We will, so that you can look around and find the type of entertainment and the type of gaming that you want to get involved in. You look, you find your machine, don't you worry about the floor. And that is the social contract that we have with them, because the floor is their responsibility. Our responsibility when we are there is to go and find the gaming and have a good time. So when you fall at the casino, does the casino step up and take responsibility and help you and take care of your injuries and damages? No, of course not. If they did, you wouldn't be in the situation where you're watching this video to find out what you need to do, because they're denying your claim. Think about it. What they do and what they're in the business of is making money, taking your money and keeping as much of it as they possibly can. And when you have a slip and fall on their property, their position is that it was your fault. They rarely accept responsibility for your fall and for your injuries. So let's take a minute and examine what their typical excuses are to deny your claim and say that the fall is your fault, because they always blame you. For some reason, it's always your fault and it's never their fault. So the first typical casino excuse is you drank too much. You were drunk. You were impaired. It's your fault. When you go to the casinos, they ply you with liquor all of the time. They want you to get drunk or loose with your money and to start putting it in so they can get as much of it as they can. But when they don't protect their floor, they don't protect you, and you fall, they turn around and say, oh, you had too much to drink. If you're not in that situation where you had too much to drink, the next one is you weren't looking where you were going. Again, we talked about this earlier. You're looking at all of the distractions that they put there to make sure that they are enticing you to gamble and lose your money. So you're looking for that one machine where you think that you are going to be able to hit a jackpot and recoup some of your money, and you're looking at all of the various games that they have, and you're not looking at the floor. That's part of the social contract. They take care of the floor. You look at all of the distractions and lose your money in their casino. But when you fall, they say you weren't looking. The next excuse goes right along with that one, and it says that you were not careful enough. You weren't paying attention. You should have been more aware of your circumstances and surroundings, but you were not. So it's your fault, even though they put all of these distractions there to make sure that you're paying attention to everything else but the floor. What is the next one? You should have seen it. It was open and obvious. You, if you were paying attention, would have seen it and could have avoided it. Now, here's the thing with that excuse. If it's so open and obvious, why didn't they see it? Why didn't they take care of it? They've got the eyes in the skies everywhere. They know what's going on. The problem is the eye in the sky, it's to protect their money. They want to make sure that no one's doing anything that could somehow put their money at risk. They're not paying attention to what happens to the floor. They're not paying attention to protect your safety. They are taking care of their money. They're watching their money, and they're not watching and protecting your safety. So if something happens to the floor, that's not what they're paying attention to. I had a case where they said, oh, the spill on the floor, it had been there less than 15 minutes. How could we do anything about it? We didn't have notice of it. But when we reviewed the tapes from the eye in the sky, we see that 4 of their employees walked right by it and never spotted it, and never did anything about it. They didn't stand there and radio in and say, could you bring a janitor over here or a porter and clean this up? Did they protect the people that were walking by? No, they never even looked, even though their casino policy was that every employee is always on the lookout for a spill. So they will always try and blame you. The next thing, and this is great, you were not wearing the proper shoes. These casinos have been in business since the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s. They know that people come in there in Las Vegas where it's hot and you're wearing flip-flops, or you're wearing tennis shoes, or you're wearing some other type of shoes. Maybe you were going out to dinner and a show and you're wearing very nice high heels. Where do they have on any of their doors, on anywhere in their premises, that says, if you have this type of shoe, do not come in here because our casino is not safe for this type of footwear? They don't have that. But as soon as someone falls, they're there and they're wanting their shoes and they're taking pictures of their shoes. And they're blaming you, saying you were not wearing the right kind of shoes. And then their fallback position is, you were at fault. Whatever excuse they can come up with. For some other reason, they will say that it is your fault, and they will review everything and they will find a way to say it's your fault and not theirs, even though it's their floor and they're not taking care of it. Here's the next one, and we just briefly talked about this. We didn't know. Under Nevada law, they have to have some type of notice of that dangerous condition. And if they didn't have enough notice, enough time, where a reasonably prudent casino operator would have discovered the spill and had an opportunity to take care of it and clean it up, or at least warn you about it, then they have no negligence. As we said in the other discussion just a moment ago, they had 4 people that walked by it and never spotted it. But their excuse was, we did not have the opportunity to discover it. Well, my argument was, when you have 4 people that are walking right by it, even though it's been less than 15 minutes, you had plenty of opportunity to discover it. And had your employees been paying proper attention, they would have spotted it and they would have protected you in some manner. Again, radioing in, calling a janitor or a porter over there to take care of it, standing there until someone could do something about it. They needed to take reasonable actions, but they didn't. So again, they will blame you. Their policy is to deny, deny, deny. It's what they do. They do not want to accept responsibility, so they force you to deal with their risk management, and risk management doesn't get back with you, or they give you the runaround. They want to take a recorded statement, and they're doing everything that they can to deny your claim. And they force you to call someone like me. And that is really what you need to do to protect yourself, is you need to contact an attorney who has the skill and experience to properly handle a slip and fall injury claim against these large casinos, because their obligation is to deny your claim and do whatever they can to reduce the amount of money that they pay out to you. They are not on your side. They are not there to protect you. They are there to protect your money. The only one who will protect you is an attorney who is skilled and experienced in this area of law. And I suggest that if you or a family member have had a slip and fall at a Las Vegas casino and you've been seriously injured, that you consider getting an attorney immediately. All right, let's get into the nuts and bolts of it. What is it that you have to prove in order to win your slip and fall claim against the casino? Because what you need to remember is that you have the burden of proof. You have to prove all of the elements of your claim in order to be successful against the casino. The casino doesn't have to prove anything. They can say it wasn't our fault. They can deny your claim as much as they want, and they often do, as we have discussed. You have the burden of proof. What makes these claims so hard is that almost all of the evidence is in the hands of the casino. They control all of the evidence that you need in order to prove your claim. So how can you go about collecting the evidence that you need in order to have a valid claim that you can prevail against the casino if you have to take your case to trial in front of a jury? Because ultimately, that is where you may end up with your claim against the casino for your slip and fall injury. So let's get down to it. Let's examine exactly what it is that you have to prove and how you can go about collecting or preserving that evidence so that you make sure that your claim is valid and you have the ability to prove it so that you can get properly and adequately compensated for the injuries and damages that you have sustained due to the negligence of the casino. So here is what you must prove. First, you must prove that there was a dangerous condition that caused your fall. There is not strict liability in Nevada for slip and falls. Just because you fell and were injured does not mean that the casino is responsible. You have to prove that there was a spill, a wet floor, a torn carpet, a stair that was broken. There needs to be something that was wrong and that was a dangerous condition. Again, the casino may say that you just weren't paying attention or you forgot how to walk or whatever it is out of any one of these excuses that we just went through to try and blame it on you. We have to prove that there was a dangerous condition. Once we are able to establish that there was a dangerous condition, we have to establish that the dangerous condition was caused by the casino. The classic example of that is the janitor who is mopping up the floor but does not put a cone or a wet floor sign to give you any advance notification that there is that wet, dangerous floor there. When the cones are there, when the wet floor signs are there, you know that you need to walk around it and avoid that area because it's very slippery. But if you've got Homer Simpson over there that's just mopping the floor and doesn't put any warnings out, and you come walking along the floor that's wet, and bam, you go down and break your hip or break your back, then you've established that the condition was caused by the casino. Let's say that the casino did not cause the dangerous condition. It is someone else who's walking along and they have one of those big drinks and they're sloshed and they drop it and spill their drink all over the floor. That condition is not caused by the casino. It is caused by someone else. So what we have to prove is that the casino knew about it. Again, a worker walks by and looks at it and sees it and keeps on going because guess what? Cleaning that up, that's not my job. They're more worried about getting to their break or getting to their table or getting to whatever their job is, and they're ignoring that spill on the floor that's dangerous because it's not their job to clean it up. That way we can prove that they knew about it and they failed to take adequate steps to properly protect the public from that dangerous condition. What if no employee walked by it? What if the casino doesn't know about it? Well, that's where we depend upon the eye in the sky, where we see the person that drops that drink and spills it, and we find out that it was there for such a long period of time that in the exercise of ordinary care and being a prudent and responsible business, that the casino should have found it and they should have cleaned it up or taken the steps to properly notify and warn you. In other words, put up cones around it, put up the caution tape, or get a couple of people to stand there, a couple of employees to stand there, direct people away from it until the janitor could come and mop it up. So either the casino caused it, they knew about it, or it was there for such a long period of time that in the exercise of ordinary care, they should have known about it and they should have done something about it. Once you've established one of these elements, the next thing is that the casino failed to warn you or they failed to correct it. They either caused it, knew about it, should have known about it, and then they failed to take the next step, which is to clean it up or to warn you about it. Next, we have to prove that that dangerous condition is what caused your fall. It wasn't that you forgot how to walk. It wasn't that you were not paying attention. It was not that you were impaired because you were drunk. It is not because you had bad shoes. It is because they had a dangerous condition and that dangerous condition caused your fall. The next element is that the fall caused your injuries. What the casinos typically do is they will scour all of your medical records. And their excuse here is that you had a pre-existing condition. Whatever your complaint of injury is, you had that before, and it is not their fault. It is not their responsibility. Now, if you fell and you broke your hip or you have a broken arm or a broken leg, it's going to be very difficult for them to say that that was not a pre-existing or an injury that happened somewhere else and then they are not responsible for. But in many instances, if you are someone who is older than 30 years old, you could have degenerative conditions in your spine. In other words, what that means is as you get older, you start to have, you're not as young as you used to be. And there are changes in your spine. And they will look at it and they will say, oh, you had a pre-existing degenerative condition in your spine. What they don't know is that you never had one day of pain. You never had any problems with pain in your spine before you fell. But all of a sudden you have this fall and you have long-term injuries. You have medical care and treatment that you have to deal with that never existed before this. But they will always come back and try and do anything that they can to whittle down your injuries and damages. And part of it is saying that you had a pre-existing condition which they are not going to take responsibility for. We've gone through and established what it is that you must prove in order to win your claim against the Las Vegas casino for your slip and fall injuries. But how do you go about doing that? How do you prove it, especially when most of the information about what happened is in their possession? And the way that you do it is you go through the things that we have always known. Who, what, where, when, how. If you can answer those questions, then we will be able to prove the liability on the part of the casino and establish the validity of your claim. So how do we do it? Let's look at this. Who? What does that mean when I say who? The question is, who caused the dangerous condition? Who was it? Was it their employee, Homer Simpson, that's over there mopping the floors, creating a very slippery marble surface, and he didn't put up any warning signs or any cones because he's oblivious to what's going on? Or was it the patron of the casino who's walking through with a drink or a beverage or a bottle of water, or they have a kid in a stroller that throws a sippy cup on the floor? Who is it that caused the dangerous condition? Or was it a carpet that's ripped up and they put a piece of duct tape over it and the duct tape came up? Who is it that caused it? If it is the casino that caused it, then they created the dangerous condition and they have notice automatically because they created it, they caused it. If it was a customer or someone who was walking through the casino, then we have to be able to go about proving that they had either actual notice that they knew about it or it existed for such a length of time that in the exercise of ordinary care, they should have found out about it and taken the precautions to protect you. So who was it that caused it is the first thing that we have to prove. The second thing is, what was it? Was it a spilled beverage? Was it the mopping of the floor? Was it water? Was it a spilled drink? Where or what was it that was the dangerous condition? You need to know what it was. Where? The next question is where? Where did it come from? It ties into the who and what. Where did it come from? Was it a spill? Was it mopping? Was it that they had a broken pipe? Was it that they had a torn carpet? Where did that dangerous condition come from? When? When did that condition become dangerous? In other words, how long did it exist? And this is something that is going to take some observation on your part. For example, if it is a liquid that's on a floor, is there a bunch of tracks going through that liquid? Had other people walked through it? Was there dirt? Was there anything that would indicate to you that that had been there for a length of time? Was it partially dried up? Looking at the spill is going to give you some information. And then how? How is something that's different? This is, how did you fall? What is it that caused you to fall? Did your foot hit it and up and down you went? Did you slip and twist your knee? What was the mechanism of your fall? The reason that all of these are important and why I warn you about giving a recorded statement to the casino when you haven't talked to an attorney is the risk management department. They are trained specifically to ask you each one of these type of questions in a manner that will get you to say, I don't know who put it there. I don't know what it was. I don't know where it came from. I don't know when it was there and how long it has been there, and I don't know how I fell. I just fell. I went down. My clothes were soaked with liquid, and the paramedics came, and your security guard came, and they started handing me papers, and I was taken away, and I don't know anything about it. And when you give them this recorded statement where you don't know who put it there, what it was, where it was from, when it got there, or how you fell, they're going to say you don't have any of the elements of your claim for damages, and they're going to deny it. And even if you later turn around and hire an attorney to represent you, if they have this recorded statement, they are going to bring it up and they are going to use it against you. And they are going to say that you couldn't have the elements of your claim, and they're going to ask that your case be dismissed from court based upon summary judgment. So when you're there, it is going to be your obligation to do what you can to preserve your evidence. You want to find out who it was, who put that there. It may not be possible for you to know that. We may have to depend upon the eye in the sky to answer that question. But you can often tell what it was. You can tell if it was water, if it was some type of drink, if it was sticky, if it was slippery. You can look at it and you can feel it and you can see what it was. You can tell oftentimes where it came from. And that is if there was a pipe or a torn carpet or something where you can determine what the source was. You can also know how big of an area was covered by it. Was it a little spot? Was it the size of a drink glass that had been spilled? Or was it a huge amount of liquid like someone was mopping? All of that is very important. When it got there, again, you might not know when it got there, but you will know how you fell. And you have to pay attention to this because oftentimes the casinos will say that the type of injury that you're claiming could not have happened from the type of slip and fall that you had. I have seen them in instances where they get the video from the eye in the sky and they look at you and you say, I tore the meniscus in my knee. I hit the water and down I went and my meniscus is torn. And their excuse, and they will get some type of expert who is a biomechanical engineer and come in and say there is no way from a slip where you go up in the air and come down and land on your bottom that you could have torn a meniscus in your knee. The only way that you can do that is a foot plant injury. In other words, where your foot sticks to the floor and you twist your knee. That is how the AstroTurf used to be in the olden days, where players were always injuring their knee because their foot would get stuck in the AstroTurf and they would have foot plant injuries. And now they have biomechanical engineers that say on a typical slip and fall, you could not tear your meniscus because that will only happen if you have a twisting of the knee where the meniscus gets pinched between the two bones. And that if you had a slip and fall where you're up in the air and down, that there is no way that you could have that type of injury. So it's going to be very important for you to know what the mechanism of your fall is and remember that so that you can explain properly when you're questioned about what the mechanism of your fall is. So these are all very important things for you to know, which is the who, what, when, where, how. The only way you're going to remember this is you're going to have to record what happened on your phone, on your voice recorder, or you're going to have to make notes. Because in the months and possibly years that follow, this will fade from your memory. You may think right now that there's no way you're going to forget all of this, but over time it will fade. So you need to do certain things to preserve your evidence. Well, Murphy, you say, it's real easy for you to say I have to preserve my evidence when I just fell and busted my keister and I'm laying on the floor of the casino and I can't get up. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to preserve the evidence? I'm laying there in pain. I can't get up. I got all these people crowding around me. What do you expect me to do? The next thing you know, the security guard shows up and is shoving a paper in my face and wanting me to sign it, and they're taking pictures of my shoes, and the paramedics show up. Or it's the opposite. I'm laying there and I can't get up and no one's even going to pay attention to me. I can't get any help from the casino. They're not going to do anything to pay attention to me or to help me. What do you expect me to do? And those are legitimate questions. I get it. That is the problem in the majority of these cases. As I've said, the majority of the information is in the hands of the casino. And we're dependent upon them to get the information to build the case against them. They don't want to give it to us. So if you're in this situation or you're watching this before it's happened, think about this. There are certain things that you need to do to protect yourself and to preserve your claim. And this is what you need to do to be able to at least build the foundation so that you can have a claim against the casino. The first thing that you have to do is you have to report it. Don't fall and get injured and think, oh, it's no big deal, I'm not going to report it. And then you find out a couple of days later or the next day you can't even get out of bed and that you have a very serious injury, but you've never reported it. And if enough time goes by, their video just records over itself, and they're not going to have it. They're not going to preserve it if they don't know about it. So the first thing that you need to do is to make sure that you report that fall so that they know about it, that they keep the videos, that the evidence that you in fact fell and were injured is preserved, and we have some basis to go in and build the elements to establish the foundation for your case. The next thing you do is, once you've reported it, is you fill out a report. You want to make sure that your fall is documented in their records. There are so many times when someone fills out a report and then it disappears. And the casino says, we never knew about it. You don't have a copy of it. And this is what's very interesting, is many times they want you to fill out a report. The security guard shows up and says, fill out this report, and then they take it away. You ask for a copy of it and they say, no, we're not going to give you a copy of the report. It's our proprietary information. Now, wait a minute. You just fell. You were injured on their property. They're giving you a report on a clipboard that you have to fill out, or their security guard is filling out, and you have no idea what they're writing or what they put down is accurate. Are they accurately writing down what you said? So before you give it back to them, if they will not give you a copy of it, take a picture of it with your phone. And you make sure that that picture is clear so that you can read the entire document. Also, what you want to do is you want to read what they wrote down to make sure that it accurately describes exactly what happened, what the dangerous condition was, how big it was, and that whatever is in that report is as accurate as possible. Also, you want to go about collecting your own evidence so that the casino is not the only one that holds all the cards, that they're the only one that has all of the evidence. You want your own evidence. And so how do you get it? You obviously have your phone. Take some pictures. Take a picture of where the spill was. And make sure that you take a lot of pictures that are very clear. Take pictures of your clothes. If your pants are all soaked and wet because someone just came tracking in from the pool a half an hour ago and they were dripping water all over the place and there's tracks running through it all over, then get pictures of that. Make sure that you preserve it. If you can, take video. Take a video on your camera of what the circumstances are that shows exactly what it was that was the dangerous condition that caused you to fall. Take video of your clothes. If you're cut, if you're bruised, take video and pictures of that. Make sure that you preserve your evidence in the best way that you can. If there are witnesses, ask them to give a statement, either record it on your recorder or video it. Have them tell you what they saw and what they know. Also, make sure that those witnesses identify themselves. Have them give you their name, their phone number, and their address so that we have a way of contacting them in the event that we need to get additional statements from them later. So make sure that you preserve that. Also, pictures or video of your clothes. If there was an oily substance or something there that doesn't evaporate, my advice to you is that you save the clothes. You put them in a plastic bag when you go into your hotel room at the casino. You get the bag that they have for dry cleaning and you put your clothes in there and you don't touch them after this happens. You preserve them. Again, we talked about this just a moment ago. If there are tracks that are running through it to prove or establish that this spill or their dangerous, hazardous condition was there for a length of time, make sure that you take pictures or videos showing that it has been there a while and other people have tracked through it, or that their porter is brought through the cart with all the luggage and there's tracks from it. If it has been drying out or there's dirt in it, anything that you can do to prove that it existed for a sufficient length of time, that the casino should have found out about it and should have done something to either clean it up or warn you about it, is very important information. Also, if there is some way for you to establish what the source of it is, whether it's a drinking fountain or it could be one of the fountains or water displays that they have, if it's splashing all over their marble floor, you want to make sure that you know what the source of that dangerous condition is. Now, if you're laying on the ground and you can't get any of this, how can you go about preserving your evidence? The fact of the matter is this: most people in Vegas aren't there alone. I don't know anybody that really goes to Vegas that they're not with their family or a group of other people. So if you're laying there on the ground and you're hurt and you can't do this, ask your family or your friends to do it for you. Tell them, you got to get pictures of this. You got to go get the security guard. You got to go tell someone at the front desk about this. We need to make a report. We need to make sure that they know. I need you to help me get the witnesses, because people will come up. People are courteous. People are friendly in Vegas. And if they see you fall and that you're hurt, they're going to come up and ask you if you're okay. Are you all right? And if your friends are there, ask them to get the statements from the witnesses and to get their names and addresses and phone number, so that you have the contact information, so that later in the evidence collecting stage of the investigation, we can get in touch with them and we can get their statements that will be part of your claims file and build the foundation to establish that the casino is responsible for this. The next thing is, you need to get the medical treatment at the time that you're injured. Most people think or hope, oh, I'm not hurt that bad, and you're embarrassed and you don't want to tell anybody about it. You don't want to make a big deal of it. But the next day you get up and you can't even get out of bed. You find out that you're much worse than you thought you were when you just thought you were embarrassed. If that is the situation, you need to go to a quick care or the ER, or do whatever you need to do to make sure that you are adequately treated, that someone looks and figures out what your injuries are and gives you some type of treatment for that. And then once you get back home, you have to follow up with your own doctors. You've got to go to your regular family doctor and maybe get a referral to physical therapy or to an orthopedic, or to get an x-ray or an MRI. Whatever it is, you need to make sure that you get the proper medical care and treatment so that your condition is taken care of. Don't just think that you're a tough guy or a tough gal and you're going to tough it out and you're going to get better. And you find out 6 weeks from now that not only are you not better, but it's much worse. And if you have this big gap where you don't get any treatment, the first excuse or the second excuse that the casino is going to use is say, how bad could have it been? You never went for any treatment. And now you're trying to pin something else on us that you did that we're not responsible for. Goes back to when we talked about what their position is, and it's always your fault, and they are going to deny your claim or find out some way to blame it on you or something else. And if there is a large gap in your treatment where you've not had any type of treatment and all of a sudden you say, yes, I had to get treatment, they're going to say anything could have happened. You could have fell anywhere else. Obviously, you're not able to walk, you're falling all of the time, or that you were in a car wreck, or you were at work, or you were somewhere else, or that you just have generalized aches and pains. Whatever it is, whatever excuse they come up with, they're going to blame it on something other than them taking responsibility for your injuries. Also, take photos of your injuries. If you have bruises from your fall, make sure that you take pictures of those. If you've had a very serious fall where you had a broken hip and you had to have a hip replacement, well, then you're going to have to take pictures of the bandages and the scarring and your recovery period. It's embarrassing. You don't want to take those pictures. You don't want people taking pictures of you when you're in the ER or coming out of it or you're in the hospital room. But those are all very critical things that you need to do to document what it is that you had to go through because of your injuries from their negligence that caused your fall. So get over your pride and get the pictures of that. Also, if you've had any out-of-pocket expenses that you had to incur, whether it's for co-pays, prescription medication, you had to take alternate travel to get back home because you couldn't stay in Vegas as long as you wanted to, and your airline flight cost you 3 times as much as it did because you had to leave early, keep all of those receipts. Again, what you need to do is document your expenses that are relating to this fall. And the final thing that you need to do is you need to call an attorney who is skilled and experienced in handling slip and fall cases against the casinos. In the majority of instances, the casino is going to find a way to deny your claim. What they typically do is automatically deny the majority of slip and fall cases. Their risk management department will write you a letter and they will say, "We are so sorry about your fall. We hope you weren't injured, but our investigation reveals that we were not responsible," and they will deny your claim. They are hoping that the majority of people just go away, that they ignore this and say, "Oh, well, I fell. What am I going to do about it? They denied the claim." Often they're very legitimate claims and you've had significant injuries, so you need to call an attorney and find out what your legal rights are and whether or not there is a legal basis for your claim. I hope that this answers your questions or gives you valuable information about what it takes to be able to win a slip and fall case against a Las Vegas casino or hotel where you've had a slip and fall injury. If this video has given you information that you find valuable and you do believe that you need a lawyer and you think that I've earned the honor of representing you, give me a call. This video is not legal advice, of course, and this video does not create an attorney-client relationship between us. It gives you general information. If you've watched this entire video, you know that we covered a lot of ground. We provided you with a lot of information, a lot to think about, and a lot of information that will enable you to at least assess whether or not you have a valid claim for your slip and fall against a Las Vegas casino. I hope that you found this useful and that it was of benefit to you. If it was, do me a favor. Give us a thumbs up, a like on this. If you know someone that could use this information, go ahead and share this video with them. We're trying to get as much information out there as we can to help people that are in situations like this. So if you found it to be useful or you know someone that may benefit from it, give it a share. And the last thing is, if you have found that this provided you with useful information, do me the favor of going on Yelp or Google and giving me a review. If it is something that did not answer your specific questions, go ahead and give me a review and put in your review what additional information you would like. I do these informative videos on a regular basis, and if there is specific information that you would like that you have not seen on our videos, tell me what it is, and I will make a video that specifically addresses your questions or your concerns so that you will have the legal information that you are looking to find. Because what I want to do is I want to put out information that is informative and gives you a benefit. So if there's information that you want, go ahead, give me a review and put in there exactly what additional information or questions that you have, and I will try to address those in the future.